Gold, baby! Welcome to the Tank Proving Grounds Gold Guide. This is PTR, so some of it might have changed when it comes live. Let's dive right in! For this fight, I rolled a warrior for the first time, and it was awesome! Make no mistake, Proving Grounds is incredibly challenging and should be good training for any tank, though completing it is difficult. Yeah, it's awesome. Just start the guide already! Keep in mind, all gear is scaled down to 463 item level. Some gear seems to scale down really badly, so watch out for that, and also check your reforging, as you may need to redo it for 463 eye level. The best way to see it is to just enter the Proving Grounds and use the Reforge Master there, as while in the area you will have the scaled down gear and be able to see what is what. Using flasks and food is very helpful and probably necessary, though potions are currently not usable. Check this though, because it may have changed, in which case you will want to use health potions. Also make sure to grab some health stones from the soul well. If either you or your healer's health gets too low, you instantly lose. So you need to keep the mobs from hurting your healer and somehow manage not to die. Your DPS is next to irrelevant, and the main thing is to keep in sight of the healer so they can nuke the ads and heal you. So what foes do we face in our trial to prove our awesomeness? Remember, some of the foes have two versions, small and large. Small ones have lower health and also don't seem to hit as hard as large ones do. The Lizard Sorok illusions are the weakest and least threatening. They just melee you and not even very hard, so all you need to do is pick up aggro on them and then let them scratch you. The flying bug guy melees you for some decent damage and occasionally uses Wing Buffet, which knocks you back and then he goes straight for your healer. You need to taunt right away and get them back to cuddling you with sharp objects. The little vermin things are really pathetic and only show up about once. Get aggro on them right away with some AoE aggro. Keep in mind that they apply a stacking debuff though. Your healers should be able to DPS them down before it becomes an issue. It might be a good idea to use an AoE stun or CC, such as Remorseless Winter or Shockwave. The Flamecasters channel a cast that creates patches of fire. You can interrupt this and stop the fire from forming, or you can let it finish. If you interrupt it, you don't have to try and dodge the very damaging fire that happens to apply stacking debuffs as well. However, the fire also affects the bad guys, so if you want, you can position them to stand in the fire for extra DPS. I didn't really bother to interrupt it until the last few waves where I was having a harder time surviving and didn't want to have to deal with fire. You do not want to have to deal with fire on wave 10. Trust me, you really don't. The extra damage it lets you do is not needed anyway. Just grab aggro on them and interrupt them as much as you can. Their other casts also hurt quite a lot. Here's an extra tip for you. Use a stun during their channel, not the initial cast, but once they actually start channeling. This will serve as an interrupt, allowing you to have your interrupt off cooldown for their follow-up cast. The ambushes are where things start getting interesting. They deal AoE damage through the use of Fan of Bananas. Not only do these things rip you up like a papier-mâché doll, but they also slow you. Grab aggro fast and then keep them away from your healer, because the AoE will kill her. The Conquerors are a lot like the strength ads from MV, in that they will put a big circle on the ground, and if you are in that circle when it lands, it hits like the moon landed on your face. It also stuns you, which can be very easily your death in this fight. Simply move out of the circle. You'll need to move right away, especially if the ambushes have stacked up that slow on you. You can use moves like Intercept on the healer to help get out of the AoE zone. You'll find a macro in the description of this video. The Conquerors also have Enrage, which makes them immune to CC, allows them to move twice as fast and hit you ridiculously hard. When they enrage, you will probably need to use a cooldown. If you're fighting any other hard-hitting ads, you will definitely have to use a cooldown, and if you get stunned while enraged, use a cooldown, especially if you have one to get out of stuns like Icebound Fortitude. Try to keep them a bit away from your healer, otherwise they can stun her, and that will reduce her DPS and hurt her, making her more vulnerable, and making the ads stay alive for longer. Both very, very bad things. The first 7 or so waves are pretty trivial waves. 8 and 9 might get a bit intense and you may have to use a cooldown, but try to save your big cooldowns like Shield Wall for the final wave, or use it earlier on so that the cooldown is ready for wave 10. Try to have your own health and your healer's health at max for wave 10. Given that wave 10 is the hardest, I'll go through exactly what I did. Even if you are using a different class, the same rules should still apply. Wave 10 starts, I immediately taunt the caster and then throw my stun hammer at him while he channels to interrupt the fire puddles. I then charge and get aggro on the adds approaching because they can easily kill the healer and I need her to have as much health as possible. I use my stun as much as possible to avoid as much damage as I can, and I keep watching the ground at my feet for those stuns. Getting hit at this stage is instant death. The two conquerors enraged, the wing ad goes to the healer and I leave it alone while I pop shield wall and last stand at the same time, giving me good defense. While they're enraged, they try to stun me. I use intercept on the healer to get out of it, and while I'm there I grab aggro on the bug. I disarm one of the adds, not the conquerors as they are immune. I then grab the ambusher that is on the healer and heroic leap away, giving me a bit of extra time to regain health while they chase me, and also getting them away from my healer. Two more adds come, so I stun the ones I am on and charge the new adds, putting distance between the massive amount of adds and myself, and allowing me to get aggro on the new adds. With all these on me, I use another cooldown. I think it's called Rallying Cry. I see that I'm about to die and have no defensive left, so I use Heroic Leap to get away from them, giving me time to be healed a bit. I also AoE stun them as they reach me, giving me even more time where I'm taking no damage. I then intercept to the healer to kite them for a little bit longer. There are only two adds up now, and seeing as they are not enraged, I can stun them while making sure to avoid their stuns. The main thing I want you to get from this video is that you must use every single one of your cooldowns in order to survive. All adds are stun and CCable, even the conquerors, provided they are not enraged. They can cast enrage while CC'd and that will free them. You absolutely must use all your cooldowns if you want to complete this. It's really hard, so don't worry if you have to try again and again. You will get this if you keep going and learning. A final few tips. The barriers will line of sight your healer, preventing her from DPSing, and she also can't refresh the hot on you if you are out of line of sight, so make sure to not have a barrier blocking you. I usually tanked inside the inner ring and only went outside for the final wave because I needed the distance for intercept, but even so I wasn't very far away and I didn't line of sight much. I hope you enjoyed this guide and found it helpful as well as informative. Please post a comment, click that like button as it really helps me out, and of course subscribe for more videos. Good luck and have fun.